When soccer comes up in conversations, most people's reactions are, it's a sissy sport, or it's not even hard to kick a ball and run. However, these opinions are becoming less and less popular in the United States. Soccer is one of my greatest passions, and in the future I hope to create a career in that sport. I've consistently played and studied the game, and I hope to show how it might impact the world you live in. I know many of you would rather watch football or basketball or baseball, or maybe just even stare at a wall, but soccer has begun to grow. By understanding and seeing where it has come from, I hope you can see how you can join the excitement in the future. Today I will talk about the factors that have started the growth of soccer, as well as show how it is going to continue to grow in the United States. I will begin by discussing a couple things that have impacted the growth of soccer. To begin with, World Cups. Soccer is not new to the States. It has been around for decades. However, it has not been widespread. Soccer didn't make an impact in the United States until the 1994 World Cup, which was hosted in the United States, and this led to an explosion of interest in the sport. It also led to the creation of the MLS, or Major League Soccer. The 1994 World Cup led to a massive increase of interest in the sport. From adults to children, soccer was suddenly super popular. Marcelo Balboa, a U.S. defender who played in the 1994 World Cup, said that 1994 was a huge turning point for everybody in soccer, especially the way people looked at it in the U.S. After the 2014 World Cup, popularity of the sport is at an all-time high. Jeff Baker of the New York Times says that 24.7 million people watched the U.S. play this year, and it's going to continue to grow in popularity. Another huge factor is the increase in interest in the youth. Youth soccer has steadily increased since the 1994 World Cup. In 1990, the amount of members that U.S. soccer had was only 1.6 million, and by 2012, it is over 3.2 million kids. Instead of kids choosing football or basketball, the trend is turning towards soccer. This has to do with a lot of things, such as just complete interest in the sport, as well as safety, as well as those other sports are seeming to increase due to other factors within themselves. Also, youth soccer not only affects the children, it affects the adults as well. And this just creates an all-around, really deep fan base. And the kids are going to keep loving soccer throughout their entire childhood and into adulthood. And it's just going to keep growing and growing as everyone grows up and as people continue to mature. Now that we have a basic understanding of things that are helping the sport grow, I will talk about how it's going to continue to do so. For starters, soccer is really young, and the future is incredibly bright. Steve Rosner says, soccer is an infant. The league in the United States is just regressing. The curve is still going. He says, I don't think it's fair to give a final score. The MLS and the World Cup have just recently gained mass attention in the United States, and they're going to continue to do so. For example, the average MLS attendance was 17,872, which is greater than both the NBA and the NHL's average attendance in this year. This shows how the sport is growing and how it's going to continue to do so. It's already happening. It's making a huge impact. The media is also very involved now. In the last couple of years, NBC, Fox, and ESPN have all signed massive deals with FIFA, the MLS, and the EPL, which is also known as the English Premier League. And this is in order to bring soccer over to the viewers and fans in the United States. This amount of media coverage will allow for more publicity in the sport. This alone will be instrumental in the increase of popularity in the sport, making the sport accessible to fans, letting Americans watch their English team, watch all their MLS games, watch the World Cup. It's making it hugely accessible, and the fan base is just continuing to grow and grow. As shown, soccer is a relatively new sport, and it only has more room to grow. All in all, because of the increased interest in the World Cup, popularity in the youth soccer, and the limitless potential that the sport is showing, soccer is going to become one of the largest sports in the United States. So next time you're bored or tired of staring at a blank wall, turn on the TV and watch a soccer game. Who knows? You may find yourself surprised like millions of other Americans have been. Thank you.